Today we're going to be covering progressing your conditioning part 3, which is going to be increasing your resistance or your load. In the previous installment of this series, I discussed how you can improve your conditioning using intensity, and increasing load is going to be essentially the same type of thing. With intensity, that type of method works really well, especially with body weight exercises, seeing as load can't necessarily be increased unless you're going to add like a weight vest or something. But in tons of conditioning, of course, we can use weights. We can use machines that allow us to edit the amount of resistance we are using. So not only machines, but free weights, kettlebells, sleds, barbells, dumbbells, all types of different things, medicine balls. So increasing your resistance really ties in with both the other methods of volume and intensity that we already talked about, because simply if you do the same amount of reps, the same amount of sets, but you're increasing your load, you're increasing your volume because you're simply lifting more weight more times, and your intensity is also going to be going up because you're lifting more weight. So, if you're lifting 100 pounds week 1, you're lifting 105 pounds week 2, well, your intensity is higher now because you're lifting a weight that's closer to your max. Although with conditioning, you usually aren't going to be lifting a weight that's too close to your 1 rep max unless you're crazy. Let's look at a couple of examples of how we can increase resistance on machines and weights. So on machines, we have various pieces of equipment. I like the sled stimulation type machine. I have one in my gym. It's called the Matrix S Drive. It's awesome. You can stimulate parachute running, and you can stimulate pushing a sled and the sled at different heights, which also changes the intensity levels, which is great. Other things that are found in a lot of gyms would be like spinner bikes, where you can change the amount of resistance basically from 0 to 24. And the Concept 2 rower, you can change the resistance, but I mean, even for cardiac output, I find it's really hard to actually get your heart rate in a decent zone without just being at the top level intensity. So the Concept 2 rower, not going to be the best way to increase your resistance. So a simple way, let's again look at the spinner bike. Maybe week 1 you start at resistance level of or a gear level of 8, and then you're going to increase it by 2 every week. So you're going to go 10 week 2, 12 week 3, 14 week 4. Very simple progression. You're increasing the amount of resistance you're using every single week, which will help progress you in your conditioning. Now, the real beauty of increasing resistance comes when we're using a lift, so or something with external resistance. So things like explosive movements are really good. That's why let's use the kettlebell swing, for instance. So let's say we're doing intervals of kettlebell swings, and week 1 we're going to use a 40-pound kettlebell, and we're just going to swing that thing as many reps as we can in 20 to 30 seconds. So the next week we want to just simply increase the load. So week 2 we're going to go with a 45-pound kettlebell, and maybe now that our intensity level is increasing, we're going to decrease our volume. So we're going to change and reduce the amount of time of our work interval. So week 1 was 20 to 30 seconds, so week 2 might be 15 to 25 seconds. Then week 3 we use a 50-pound kettlebell, and we do that for 15 to 20 seconds. And then week 4 we use a 55-pound kettlebell, and we use that for 10 to 20 seconds. So this is a super simple progression over 4 weeks that allows you to increase your training load and help progress your conditioning to an area where, again, you're going to be using mainly explosive movements, using exercises which allow you to modify your training loads. So that's generally going to be utilizing the energy systems that are a little bit more on the anaerobic side. But if you're still able to keep your heart rate from getting super high, of course you could still train the other more anaerobic type energy systems. So that concludes my training progressions for conditioning. If you have any questions, any concerns, thoughts, I would love to know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you enjoyed these types of videos, I got a lot more content coming. Hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Later.